Go forth.
Go forth.
And multiply. Or not.
Anyway. Welcome, Jade Army.
Yes, this is going to be, I don't know, not like a normal educational segment. It's kind of feel like a little get to know me, but not really.
But also, it's just kind of going to be off the cuff. So we're just going to have a natural conversation. We're going to start on a topic and...
We're not looking at notes.
Take it from there. No notes.
This is just us talking in my bedroom.
Yes.
Out loud.
So, and me spilling my coffee a dozen times this morning.
Is that saying you need to spill the tea? There's something you need to spill the tea about.
Oh, yeah. So I've been seeing a lot about spiritual psychosis online lately. And as someone who has experienced some experiences with that, I need to touch on a few things because I've been seeing some dangerous information circulate about that. So, I've noticed that some people are saying spiritual psychosis happens when you are having a spiritual awakening and you feel like you're going crazy and you just don't understand what's going on is actually like your clairs kicking in or whatever.
Let's pause and preface. We're not doctors. We're talking from experiences and opinions. Please seek medical help if you need medical help.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we're not doctors. I just know from personal experience. So this may or may not be true in some people's cases. Like, you can't tell everyone that's having a psychotic breakdown that they're just having a spiritual awakening, because that's not healthy, and that's not really what spiritual psychosis is. Really, spiritual psychosis is when you start seeing signs and everything, even if it's not a sign, and you start connecting dots that aren't connected because you feel like you got a sign from this or that. And I'm not saying everyone who hears voices is crazy, because absolutely not true, right? But if you are hearing voices, your first assumption should never be, I'm psychic. You know what I mean? It should never be your first assumption. You should always go through different routes of like confirming things like that. You can't, if you're hearing voices, the first thought you should have is, I need to talk to someone about this and figure out what's going on with me. If you're having hallucinations, same thing. Seeing things that other people can't see, I should say. Because sometimes I would say that's not necessarily a hallucination, but most of the time it probably is. And mistaking a hallucination for like a vision.
Visions don't work like Phoebe from Charmed.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, there's things that, you have to really put in the time to heal your trauma and stuff. So if you're having what you would consider like a spiritual psychosis, whether you're having an awakening or whether you have some underlying mental illness, you really need to focus on your shadow work and relieving your trauma, because until then you're never going to be able to discern between what's a sign and what is just your trauma response to something.
More often than not, I feel like people tell you about spiritual psychosis, but people not everybody understands it, because it's not, you can have mental issues that aren't connected spirituality and are connected spirituality, and opening your clairs can cause you to go into a psychosis.
Definitely, but that's not something that should be like spread as that's definitely what's happening to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's dangerous. So dangerous. And I feel like a lot of these people are saying that. Like, like I've even heard influencers say that psychosis isn't real. It's really just a spiritual awakening. And I'm like, no sis, it's not. It's very real.
Yeah.
It's very real. When you can't separate reality from fantasy, that's a really real problem for some people.
No, it is. But I'm saying that going into spirituality, like you said, without doing background work can cause psychosis, and that's what it is. It can cause it. But it's not all like spiritual psychosis. But psychosis doesn't have to be spiritual. See a doctor, take your meds, go to therapy. But when people are talking about spirituality, you need to know that there's a groundwork called shadow work, which is working through trauma. And if you're not doing that...
And that's a constant thing as well. Like, we should always be doing shadow work. There's always work that can be done on ourselves to improve and give ourselves a better life, you know?
Yeah. But spirituality isn't, like I've heard and before, even with just Christian God, okay? Say you pray to God, but some people pray to God like he's a genie. And you can't expect entities to be genies, and you can't expect spirituality to be all puppies, rainbows, and kittens, and unicorns, because there's that aspect of integrating yourself with yourself. Dealing with the person that you were when you were going through trauma, and accepting that, so that you can then accept the next step in life. And it's not nice. It's hard. There's tears. You feel alone. There's ego death. Whether you use substances or not to do that.
That's another thing with spiritual psychosis. It can cause ego death, but anybody's capable of denial, right? And as long as you're in denial, you will never kill the ego. You'll never kill the ego. So, just because you have a mental breakdown doesn't mean you're going to have an ego death, especially if you're not accepting of what it was. Because you have to accept it. You have to accept all the ways you were wrong. You have to feel the embarrassment of the situation. You have to
process it
completely. Otherwise, you're not going to have an ego death. It doesn't happen every time.
It doesn't. But it is part of practice, though.
Yes.
Because people, will look at you once you start practicing and be like, your face has changed. You've become a different person. Your confidence is higher. And it's because of going through the process of the work behind the scenes that not everybody sees. If you're going to get readings or you're seeing psychics online and they don't mention the fact that there's hard stuff behind the way, they're not legit.
Right.
Because there's hard shit. Going to the grocery store can cause trauma.
Right. Exactly. Anything. It can be anything. It's just the fact of the matter is nobody's perfect, and you'll just always, if you're constantly doing your shadow work, you can constantly have these ego deaths, and which,
because it no longer becomes like a huge thing. It becomes just like a check.
Right. It's
you just check yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It is just literally just checking yourself at any given moment. And
I'm not the sexiest bitch in the world, but I'm a sexy bitch.
It's funny because, I feel like this conversation is leading to what we could be talking about.
It kind of is in a way.
Because we're talking about ego death, which is like ascension, and we'll be talking about that.
Because spirituality, really, there's bases that you can follow in different culture and teachings, and it all kind of boils down to similar things.
Right, exactly. And it's not controversial to even say that ascension comes through knowledge at this point, right?
And accepting.
And acceptance, and it comes from within ourselves. Like, we're the ones that have to do the work and the forgiving ourselves and getting through all of that, you know? It's just interesting. And I was just thinking that too, because we're going to be talking later about Mary Magdalene.
We are.
And, like, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, of course. And it talks about ascension and here on earth. And all of that. And it's really crazy how it's not even new information.
It's not.
When Mary says it. Like...
But even, like, okay, so we're going to talk about...
That idea of that has been around for a long time because we have, like, other ancient religions like Buddhism and things like that.
But we're going to talk about Mary in conjunction with Virgo season. But also, you talking about it, and, like, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, like, Luciferianism isn't, like... I mean, I guess you could say it's ancient, right? But the tenets of Luciferianism is talking about being your own god. Divinity within.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's post-Christianity. Anyways, I'm talking pre-Christianity.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's so important to talk about pre-Christianity.
But, you know,
when you're talking about Christianity and the ideas of Christianity.
Right.
Because then, I mean, it really drives home where those ideas actually came from.
You're right.
Because it is a later
But
religion.
it became demonized. Like, having confidence and being in union with yourself.
Especially as a woman.
Especially as a woman.
Yeah, to the point where, I mean, even in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, you have, like, pages ripped out of her gospel because it talks about, possibly, we don't really know what it talks about because we don't have those pages.
Maybe Tantra.
But also the importance of women in spirituality. So, they really wanted to eliminate as much of that importance as they could, making women unable to speak in church and things like that. So,
yeah, and in, like, common day practice, I talk to not another spiritual guru a lot because we besties, and one day I had somebody comment on my outfit and my makeup. Right? And I was like, I did my makeup, laid out my outfit. There's steps you take to get ready and look good. And somebody was like, well, you look good. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And they got upset. Because I owned that shit.
Also, you don't have to be nice to everyone who pays you a compliment, especially if you're, like, not out looking for a compliment, like, from some stranger, you know? You can say, yeah, I know. Especially, you know, if you are too nice to some people, I feel like they get the wrong idea. They think you're flirting with them. I feel like a lot of women give in to that because they don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah, like, okay, why should I have to tell you thank you for giving me a compliment when I took hours to get ready? Maybe it sounds a little tone deaf, but also, like, where does the conversation go? Like, okay, it was somebody that I know, and they weren't trying to, like, get with me because we might be, like, related in the same family. Do you get what I'm saying? It was just, like, a compliment. But I just, like, I don't know where the conversation's trying to go. And then I was like, yeah, I know. Like, I picked out that outfit, I did my makeup, and then they were like, well, you seem full of yourself. And I'm like, yeah. I know, maybe I do, but, like, it took me time to do that shit.
I mean, everyone can be a little full, like, I feel like everyone's a little full of themselves. Sometimes when we see other people being full of themselves, it, like, triggers us for some reason. And I don't know why, but, like, for me, I don't necessarily get that way because I'm like, oh, they're feeling themselves. Good for them.
Right?
You know what I
like,
mean?
let that person be comfortable within their own skin, because
If
there were
someone
times
said-
that they weren't.
I know. To me, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, you'd be like, yes, queen. Yes.
Exactly.
Love that for you.
No, but not everybody's like that. But a lot of people do get triggered when they see other people being into themselves, because they're like, how dare they? I'm not capable of being that into myself.
Exactly. 'Cause
How dare they?
they're not comfortable with their
Yeah.
own self, and this is where you can see in real time people's struggles behind the scenes, and then they project it on you. And this is why you have to constantly do your own shadow work and try your best to not call people out when you see that they need to do theirs.
Well, I mean, sometimes the right thing is to call them out.
Look,
honestly.
sometimes I do, but then I become problematic.
I mean, it depends on the person. I think some people can take it and some people can't.
It's candle wax.
I know, I'm smelling it.
I don't know whose it is. I think it might be the Gemini one, which is gone now.
It smells like coconut.
Coconut.
No, it smells like the beach, yeah.
Oh, no, it might be a wax melt. I have a wax melt in teenage room because stink. And I think it was aloe and something. I got it from that coffee shop pop-up thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, just we're trying to let you guys in and know that if you're struggling, reach out for help. There's avenues that you can take. Being honest with somebody that you know is not going to judge you is helpful. You can't be in your own sounding box with other people where everybody and you are sharing the same opinion, because in that case, they might enable the fact that you need help.
Right, exactly. That's a problem that you don't want to have. I mean, you need to have good... That's another reason why we do... It's important to call your friends out when they need to do their shadow work, because you need a good, honest, straightforward people in your life to help you, not enable you.
And there is such thing as, you know, calling somebody out or helping them in a way that, like, you're not doing it to cause a fight.
No, you can absolutely be kind when you call out a friend for something that you need to work on. I agree with that. Like, I think that being mean for no reason, obviously, is inexcusable.
No, because when you have healthy friendships, you should be able to have some kind of discourse and it not be a problem, because everybody's not the same and we have different opinions.
Exactly.
So, get help if you need it. Spiritual awakenings can open up a lot of things and cause a lot of craziness in your life, but that doesn't mean it causes or doesn't cause psychosis. Just like Claire's open, and if you're not ready and grounded,
it can really mess you up. But you could be messed up from other things
before you get into spirituality.
Yeah. It might just be trauma, and then you just happen to mix the spirituality in before you've really worked on a lot of that, and it just doesn't mix well.
Look, like, in New Age spirituality and, like, love and light talk, TikTok, so, like, crazy, especially with the angel numbers. And I swear, like, I sent Not Another Spiritual Guru meme. There was, like, a video, and it was like, when I see somebody do something and I look at the bestie to see if they caught it, and the bestie and both of you are, like, eye connecting and side-eyeing, because that's what I do with Not Another Spiritual Guru. Every time we see something, we go 11 11, 33 33, 55 55, 67, not 67. Not 67, but you get what I'm saying.
67?
67.
Yeah,
Somebody,
whatever that means. That means something to someone, I'm sure.
Maybe, but, like, it shouldn't, though. Because if you're sitting in front of the microwave at 11:10 waiting for 11:11,
because you want to make a wish so friggin' bad, you have to, like, kind of happen upon it, right? And honestly, like, that's just, like, kind of, like, this silly superstition, right? The 11:11 thing, right?
But it's come so mainstream.
It has become mainstream. You know, you can make a wish any time of day, and it has just as great a chance as coming true as at 11:11.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. So, you know, just try not to fall into that brand of spirituality without having any type of knowledge, because it's not going to help. And spirituality is not like a fix-all.
Right.
You can't jump in. They're not, like, entities are not genies.
Also,
You need
back
therapy.
to angel numbers. Sometimes your angel number's not a repeating number.
Yeah. No, like 67.
Yeah. That's why I said, well, maybe that means something to someone. Honestly. Because you are an individual person, and it's not going to be, like, repeating numbers all the time. If you're seeing repeating numbers all the time, you're looking for them.
Oh, yeah. No.
You're looking 100%. For them. And I guarantee you that's what's happening, because I could start right now. I could start seeing repeating numbers today, and I could just make the decision that I'm going to be on the lookout for repeating numbers, and I promise you I will see them everywhere if I do that.
Yeah, no, there's a book that somebody had just written, and it was called Manic Pixie E-Girl, and it was a former CIA agent, and he talks about this blue feather experiment. I haven't bought the book yet, but I've heard about it.
I've heard about that book too.
The blue feather experiment, where you go and you say you want to see a blue feather, and then you start seeing them everywhere. Because it was talking about shifting the consciousness and, like, different things. And, yeah, no, it's 100% true. And honestly, in my experience...
Speaking of synchronicities, I have my Moldavite on today.
I actually was going to ask you, like, I was looking at Insight Creation, and Moldavite is trending for a video.
That's funny.
So I was like, this bitch. And then you are wearing it. I clocked it.
Moldavite in the title of this podcast.
Moldavite rant. Not really.
Not really. Spiritual psychosis. Moldavite. Shadow work.
Oh, no. Okay. So, honestly, in my own practice now, if I'm looking for repeating angel numbers or repeating numbers and I want to see that, I have a rule that I have to see it so many times in a row. And it's like an outrageous
you have
number
to see the same one
within a certain time period.
Right.
For it to matter.
Right. Exactly. So for instance, I'm always seeing a particular number. I'm not going to say what the number is. Okay. And I've been seeing it since my daughter was in daycare, which she was in daycare when she was like 9 months old until she was like 18 months old. And the address of that daycare was that number. And then I noticed that number was in a couple of songs, and I was like, what's the meaning of this number? And like these songs came up, and so of course I listened to the songs and tried to figure out if there was any meaning there for me. And then like it said other things about the number, right? And since then I've kind of like put it away, but I still do see the number all the time, and I'm not sure that, because it's not a repeating number.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? So, but I do see that particular number all the time, and so I kind of think about when I see it, what am I going through right now? Yeah. You know?
You gotta take it with what's going on in your life, what you're doing. Like another spiritual guru said, if you're focusing on the number, saying, I'm gonna see it.
I don't see it every day.
You're probably gonna see it more than the amount that you want. But what I do most of the time is when I set boundaries with my spirit team and ask them to send me certain signs, so I know that is what they're trying to say in a certain way, right? Because you can do that. And then 2, looking up numbers in your dream. So if you're in a store or something in your dream, or you have a dream with a number in it, it's probably important.
Yeah. I mean, that particular thing. I also like particular numbers, like if a particular number keeps coming up for very specific core moments in your life, that's when you pay attention to that number. Because there's another one that's 111, and it is the only repeating number that I'm not ever like, if it turns 111 on the clock and I happen to see it, I'm not like, oh my gosh, message from the universe every time. But obviously if I'm going through something important and I see it, you know, it's different. Like, and The reason why is because there's been multiple things that happened with that number, multiple addresses that were significant, that were 111, during very significant time in my life. And then coming home and seeing the number 111 inside of this jewelry box that my Nana, who passed away when I was very young, gave to me, or that I inherited. Like, she didn't give it to me, but I inherited it. And there's a little piece of paper in the bottom of that box that says 111. And let me tell you what, ever since then, I've been like, that's an important number. That might be my Nana.
Yeah.
For all, warning me about stuff. But
in the way that you described it isn't overly toxic, overly like wanting to see the signs, listening,
right,
visualizing, knowing, needing.
It's something that I had to honestly do the work on and do the shadow work on, because when I'm talking about that was specifically during a psychotic episode that number became important to me. But the thing is that I did follow it to an unhealthy degree until I figured out
that it's not always the case.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you can't just be like having it in your head that you're gonna see this number today or that number today, because then you're gonna see it every chance you get.
Yeah.
You can't be focused on, I feel like for numerology to work in that way, like, you really can't be focused on it at all, And
this isn't knocking it if you're doing it in a healthy way, but if you're doing it in an unhealthy way, you need to actually have somebody tell you or start to see it yourself, because when you take it to an unhealthy place, you're not stable.
Also, if you've done your shadow work and you're open-minded in general, and you've done your shadow work in that area, you're going to know when you're receiving insight from the universe without seeing a number.
Exactly. Because you start to trust your instincts, you start to trust your clairs, and then also you have that ego check where it's like you realize, hey, you are important, but
also you always have to recognize when you do not have proof for something. No matter what, I don't care how sure you are. If you don't have proof, then you're not that sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and it's okay to think, you know something, and that's what we call unverified personal gnosis.
Yeah.
But
no, 100%.
But it's keyword unverified.
Yeah.
Keyword personal.
Yeah.
To you, like
that would go into like mentioning the fact that people talk about wanting to work with entities. They get confirmation checks,
mm-hmm.
right? By tarot readers, people that do any other type of divination, because they, one, don't want to think that, they want to have the confirmation, so they don't think that they know. It's not just their own gnosis.
Right.
And then also, two, they can get to know the energy more. So getting used to actually outsourcing stuff can be helpful. Yeah, if you can do your own divination, do that. But when you have a friend that can help you as well to confirm it, that helps, because then you don't.
Then you're not alone.
You're not
alone.
You
have a witness. You're not crazy. Someone else thinks like you can confirm it for you.
Yeah. And when you open the door to spirituality and start working with entities, some of them can just take over and be always around, or they can mess with you occasionally. And that doesn't mean that it's a trickster spirit. It doesn't mean it's a demon. But
I will also say that all fae, every fae in existence is a trickster spirit. So
yeah, but not in the way that everybody talks about it online.
Yeah.
Like
they're not, but they're like, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, they're gonna eat your bones. they just, honestly, that's not even true. There's good fae and bad fae. They're all a little cheeky. You know?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. And that's an example, right? Like,
they're just like humans, but it's like there's good people and there's bad people, but like the sociopaths and psychopaths amongst humans is like 4% of people. So you're looking at the same thing amongst fae. Like, people talk about them like they're all like creepy, evil, sick little creatures. What in the propaganda?
No, for real. Everything's become so demonized. It's like, yes, mind your P's and Q's, but also once you get on a level where you're like, hey, bitch, what's up? That's great. Just don't start with, hey, bitch, what's up?
And also, they are at best lighthearted pranksters. At worst, they will lead you deeper into the forest until you disappear without a trace, and
then resurface like years later.
Maybe resurface 20 years later, but it felt like 20 minutes for you.
Have you heard about the lady, these few people in Africa getting taken by ocean spirits and coming back at the same age 40 years later?
No, I didn't know.
Oh my God.
Where did that happen?
I was at a town in Africa. There was a little girl that was taken at the age of 7, and she was gone, and they were doing lots of like rituals to get this girl back, and she came back 40 years later, the same age of 7. And then there was a guy that was taken at the age of 40, and he came back like, I think 10, 15 years later, but he no longer could speak.
Was he traumatized?
No. Like, medically, he couldn't speak.
Like, he couldn't speak? That's what I'm saying. Like,
Look, maybe the mermaids and fae, cryptids, like, just...
Mm-hmm.
You know? You're not telling anybody.
Yeah.
Period. This is why you respect. Educate yourself.
Yeah.
Don't fuck around and find out.
Exactly. And honestly, I cannot recommend more to people to have a good working relationship with the fae. I feel like they are everywhere. Yeah. There's house fae.
Yeah.
There's fae in your house.
Just make sure when you start giving offerings, you have to continue to do so. You can't just stop.
But
and
the
you have
thing
to ask
is,
something.
A lot of things can be considered offerings. And if you give them an abundance of offerings at once, they will last to them for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, they love house plants, and they'll help you keep them thriving if you have a good working relationship with them. Honestly, if you don't, they might just like you. Because if your plants are always dying, I'm sorry, but there's something the fae don't like about you.
Not just the fae, too. Like, plants can be wards.
Plants, yeah. That's true, too. But I think that, like, personally, a lot of times when people are like, I cannot keep any plant alive ever, no matter what I do, I'm just like...
What'd you do?
And I'm like, the fae just hate you, bro.
You did something.
Like, they're like, well... I think I love my plants too much because I overwater them.
So, we started the podcast to, like, just talk to you guys about spirituality, because that's kind of how me and Anna, the spiritual mover, like, that is how we got along. I was doing tarot readings one day, she came in and was like, yeah, let me do a reading, and then we just became best friends very fast. And we wanted to do a little episode like this because there's a lot of things trending and showing up, and we have experience with it. And this is also why we get very, like, analytical and list out knowledgeable stuff for you guys.
Yeah. And there's fun things, you know, it's always good for you to look into it yourself, too. So, you know, CinnamonGrove does her best to, like, link lots of links.
I over Virgo.
And there's always good information in the links, and And you know, there, and you should always, you know, look up maybe your own information, read books, do your own deep diving,
Google,
YouTube videos of accredited sources.
Look,
right.
If you're a millennial,
qualified people.
Do you remember getting yelled at and that you couldn't look at Wikipedia and you have to look at orgs and EDUs and what was another one? Is it just EDUs and orgs?
I don't know.
You need to look at credited sites. And I'm not saying Wikipedia is not credited, okay? Because there are some stuff on Wikipedia that is sourced correctly. But, like, don't go to, like, Newsweek.
Or any really good article that has all of its sources listed.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly. Yes. And, you know, it can be... I mean, I found a really great article, for instance, about Mary Magdalene that I was just, like, enthralled by. It was a really good one. And at the bottom, there was all the links, all the sources, all the source materials. And I was just super impressed because it made me feel like I could trust the information in the article. You know, it was so well sourced. So.
But for every good article, there's bad articles out there. And that's why we're saying, like, that's why we get this is very educational.
You have to look at, are they trying to sell you something?
Yeah, 100%. Because even, like, I'll be on my computer, and it is a Microsoft computer, and they have, like, the little, like, news ads that pop up on my internet browser. And I was telling another spiritual guru the other day where it was talking about ancient, like, Greece or something. Because I'd be Googling things, and I'd be looking things up. And so it sees that, and it's like, here's information. But these articles were like, why ancient Greece people had good hygiene. Oh, they had combs. And I'm like, why are we demonizing ancient people when they literally had batteries? What? Like, just because it's something that happened in the past doesn't mean that. I know I got off topic kind of in a way.
I'm like, what does that have to do with hygiene? I'm
circling back. Just because it's something that happened in the past doesn't mean we have all the information. And there's other people and other sites that are sorted that tells you, like, tools that they found.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that little Newslink article had no sites. Nothing to look at. They had something saying, oh, well, Greece people were hygienic because one thing. And I'm like, I can go look up on another site.
I mean, if you think community baths are hygienic. I mean.
But that's what I'm saying. One news article is not equivalent to another.
Yeah, I'm sure they kept that water real hygienic. They had chlorine and everything, guys. It was like a swimming pool. Gosh.
Oh.
No.
Like, know where you're looking. That's the point. Know where you're looking. Acknowledge that you need to make sure that this thing that you're reading isn't trying to sell you something and it has actual information attached to it. Not just, like, 2 paragraphs about really stupid things that aren't even making any sense.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, yes. We like to give you guys info, and we like to talk, and we do sometimes sound monotone when we're giving the information, or we try not to.
Yeah, no. You know, sounding monotone, I feel like it's something I've struggled with my whole life. Just voice inflection in general, and, like, facial expressions in general.
But also, like, when we record, we do it all in one day, and we get kind of talked out. Well, and the energy kind of, like, fizzles.
Today it won't be so bad, because we don't have too much going on this morning. Yep. You know. But speaking of the trending topics, you were talking about Aphrodite.
Yeah, so I have been on TikTok for a while, and I'm not by any means crazy viral or anything. If you're not on my TikTok, you can go on my links down below and follow me. I'm kind of in the 200 jail with views, but I think it's a lot because I'll go and I'll post, and I'll make videos to bulk batch and post, and then they don't, like, That's it for like a week, and then I don't do anything for the other week.
You need to look at your engagement more, percentage more than you're like, okay. Because I've noticed that, okay, if you get 200 views on a video, I've noticed that you've had like 25 hearts. That's a 25. No, that's not a 25%. That's like a 12% engagement rate, which is actually really high.
I gotta go back through, but the problem is when I get analytical, I get critical. Virgo rising.
Yeah.
Anyways, so in the creator insights on TikTok, you can look at things that it wants you to make videos about. And the other day, there was like, signs Aphrodite is reaching out to you. And I hate making videos that are like very broad, especially when you're talking about any deity, entity, period, because there's so many love goddesses that it may be Aphrodite, but it also could be a lot of the other ones.
There's multiple love goddesses in Greek mythology that came after Aphrodite.
Yeah.
Too. That are rival to Aphrodite.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you have to... you have to kind of consider that a little bit. Like, maybe...
It's somebody else.
Maybe it's somebody else. Aphrodite won't let me say names.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, she's in the room.
No, like my tongue was literally tied.
She's literally in the room. Babe.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, she was like, you better not
Bitch,
utter.
I said what I said.
You better
Don't
not
even.
utter that name.
Anywho, so yes, alrighty Aphrodite, because that's a song. Anyway, so there's other entities that are love entities, and I hate that part about being a spiritual, like, entrepreneur, soulpreneur, whatever you want to title it, having a spiritual business, because people want you to explain things to them very quickly in under a minute, especially on TikTok, and that's difficult. But a lot of things that have been popping up in the creator insight wasn't just that one. Today I saw 3 things about Aphrodite, period, that TikTok wants me to make videos about, which I don't have a problem doing. But the issue is, it feeds into the algorithm. And then people are like, Aphrodite has to be reaching out to me, or Lilith has to be reaching out to me, or Hecate has to be reaching out to me.
But literally, no. Stop right there. Because I literally only ever see Hecate and Lilith is trying to reach out to you. I never see Hermes is trying to reach out to you.
No, exactly. That's my point right there, right? Nobody... It's part of the algorithm. And if you, my friend, if you are a listener, whoever you are out there, if you are engaging, liking, sharing, viewing, looking it up, it feeds into the algorithm. And the algorithm goes, oh,
right.
You like Aphrodite? Here more Aphrodite. Oh, you like Hecate? Here more Hecate.
Also,
oh, you looked up Lucifer? Oh, here Lilith.
But also, just in general, like, whatever's trending might pop up. And that might be what struck your interest to begin with. But, like, just because it's popping up on your news feed doesn't mean it's for you.
Exactly.
It's your For You page, but it's not.
Exactly.
But it doesn't mean it's a direct message.
And look.
Getting back into the spiritual psychosis thing, no, not everything's a message to you.
No, it's not always a message. And I'm not saying entities don't use the online. But also, if you want to get into spirituality and part spiritual psychosis or spirituality, did you know that there is an algorithm that is worshipped as a deity in techno-paganism?
Nope, didn't know that.
Yeah, and AI, people can worship a algorithm. You can worship TikTok as a god if you really wanted to. And people are making these social medias into the end-all be-all. Think about it for a second.
Yeah, but that's not healthy.
It's not healthy. Get off of your phone for a minute. Back away once you realize that you think that entities are talking to you every 5 seconds through your TikTok algorithm.
Right.
Go touch grass.
Honestly, yeah. And then while you're touching grass, if you still feel like that deity's trying to reach out to you.
Call a sidekick.
Or, do your own divination. Or, I mean, just in general, if you're thinking about or drawn to a deity, that's a pretty decent sign
That's a sign, yeah.
that they probably are reaching out to you. But are you drawn to them, or did just something you happen to see online pique your interest for half a minute
Yeah.
and you're gonna move on from it.
Look, just because all of a sudden you start liking the color pink does not mean Aphrodite's reaching out to you. I said what I said.
Exactly. Just because, And
it's Friday. Happy Venus Day.
Right. Anyways, so yeah, no, Aphrodite, she will reach out to you, but it's about just understanding that, okay, like, you want to work with her. You know what I mean?
You can petition entities to work with them, and they can say yes or no.
Right, and you'll know if you will know, because if you petition a deity or an entity, and
you make them happy or piss them off.
You piss them off, for instance, you're gonna have things go wrong in that area instead of right in that area, whatever you asked for from them.
Yeah.
And whatever, if you want a relationship with them, they might tell you no by, for instance, Aphrodite might tell you no by just
giving you a bad hair day.
Not even giving you a bad hair day. Like,
bad example, but
that's not really a strong enough thing. Like, she might not just give you a bad hair day, but like, you might
fuck
just
up your relationship.
Not just that, you might your insecurities might heighten, and
100%.
your self-esteem might go down.
That's a big thing.
You might start to just feel really bad about yourself. That's what I think mostly. I mean, she's not going to straight up probably punish you just for asking for a relationship with her, but she'll be like,
no.
You work on yourself, and I'm going to show you all the ways you need to work on yourself before you're worthy of a relationship with me.
Look, it's true though. And look, everything's not a sign, and social media will show you things in your own little echo chamber. All right?
Right.
Like, just be healthy. Put down the technology. Go touch grass. Talk to a therapist or a trusted friend about your issues. Be vulnerable with people. And while that may turn some people off, you'll notice that the people that exit when you're vulnerable weren't worth the shit to be around anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying go be vulnerable with everybody, okay? But with the people that are around you, like your friends and your family, you should be able to be vulnerable.
I agree. And if you can't be vulnerable with them, it's important to find a tribe of people who you can be vulnerable with. Because obviously there's people who don't have people super close to them that they can be vulnerable with.
Yes. And having a tribe online is okay. Just don't make everything you're seeing a sign. Reach out to people. If you need to message people,
and remember, the people online don't know you.
No.
They don't. No matter how much you talk to them online, they will never know you like they could know you in person.
Yeah.
There's no way. And they're not going to know necessarily if you're masking around them, for instance. Sometimes we do that unconsciously. So, and more so probably for people we don't know well or only know online. So you're not being your complete self.
100% though. I'm going to talk about this. But I went and hung out with some people. I didn't know everybody there. I wasn't entirely uncomfortable. But I wasn't 100% me. And not another spiritual grower and me are going to go together. And they're going to see a different version of me because I'm going to have somebody there.
Right.
And they're going to be like, what the fuck happened? Bro, I'm comfortable now. That's
right. Exactly. No, you go into that situation and you're just like, oh no, I don't know anybody. I'm socially awkward. And it doesn't help if you go into a situation and let's say you're not the only socially awkward one around, you know? Then it just makes things extra weird. Because, I mean, you always have to consider that. Like, not everybody who isn't being super friendly or seems standoffish is actually mean and standoffish and snobbish. You know, a lot of them are just shy and socially awkward. And they don't know how to handle those situations.
No, because it's not always about every person in a social situation. And also, like, just because you see somebody that has, like, resting bitch face or their face faces doesn't mean they hate you or they're thinking bad things about you.
Not
it
the
could
face
literally
facing.
Look, my face faces too. Both of our face faces. And when I say that, I mean, like, somebody will say something and I make a face and I can't stop it from happening. So you get the reaction, or I have a thought in my head and so I make a face. So you may think I'm making a face about you, but babe, no, I just forgot I left the oven on, or I'm remembering how I drank old burnt coffee, or some weird shit like that. It's just a thought in the head that has nothing to do with what is happening, but whatever is happening at the moment
Or you're getting
reminded me.
Really random psychic insight.
Or that too, right? And I don't be talking about that because then people think I'm crazy. Like, I've literally had family members think I'm crazy, so. And not like psychosis crazy, but like say some shit.
And here's the thing, the difference between psychosis and not psychotic. Just having a weird belief about something and being delusional. There's a line.
100%. And I have great reviews on all of the readings I've done. I literally, for most of the people I read, I've never fucking met before. And they'll be like, how did you know that? I don't fucking know, bro. I just know. I just know.
But also, like, regardless of even that, like, it's about how you're able to function in your everyday life.
And I function.
More than anything. Yeah, and more than anything, it's about your functionality. Like, if it's affecting your ability to function, that's a huge red flag that's a delusion.
Yeah.
And not just a strange belief.
No, yeah.
You know, air quotes.
Yeah, she air quoted. It's very easy for family members or friends or people that aren't in my physical life to see what they want to see, but then not actually look at the fact that I'm running my business. I do all this other stuff. I take care of my kids. I cook fucking dinner every night. I'm not just stopping at what I'm doing, but they don't want to look at like, oh, well, you only read for strangers and you gave them insight and things that nobody would fucking know. They're just like, oh, you're crazy. And I'm like, okay, sure. You pray to Sky Daddy, so.
You pray to Sky Daddy.
Her face is facing. I just broke her.
No, Yaldabaoth or the Most High. Which one? Which one?
The egregore in the church.
No. Oh gosh, sorry. My brain is rotted from Gnosticism lessons.
Not that one, because they don't teach that one in the church right now.
What?
They don't really
about
teach
y'all.
that in the church.
I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm talking
Okay.
about Gnosticism.
Yeah, they don't teach that in church.
Heretical Christianity.
Look.
Yeah, no, I'm not. My brain is rotted from all of the heretical texts I've been reading. So now I'm just like, oh gosh, no. And you're like, you pray to Sky Daddy. I'm like, which one? Which one?
Val, go listen to our Venus episode.
I have to use the bathroom.
Zeus, that's
Hold
another
on.
Sky Daddy.
I'll be back.
Odin is another Sky Daddy. I don't think I can think of another Sky Daddy. But no, yeah. People are gonna judge you, but make sure that you're getting, like, make sure that you're allowing the judgment to happen if you're, you know, not in tune with yourself, because you need it. But when it's unfounded, that's when you don't need to worry about it. Okay? everybody's life is different and we go through many different experiences. That's what the human experience is. And even two people in the same household are going through an experience, but the experience isn't the same. So that's food for thought, 100%. And, you know, we just wanted to do something different and talk to you guys about things. And I hope that this episode was good for you guys and that you notice that we're here if you need resources or help. We cannot be here 24/7, and, you know, we can't be all of what you have. But if you need a sounding board, more than welcome to reach us on one of our platforms, which is TikTok or Instagram. Yes, she went to the bathroom. She's coming back now. I lost my mouse. I can't see. Just talking. I'm gonna edit this out. Oh god. Pause. She is back now.
Sky Daddy?
Sky Daddy.
I heard Odin.
Yeah. Zeus.
Bow.
I couldn't think of anything else.
Yeah.
Top of my head.
Sky Daddies.
I mean,
Sky Daddies galore.
technically
there's so
Ra,
many.
and there's another one, right? Because there's like one that does heat and one does that rain in Egyptian mythology.
Yeah.
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 So there are many Sky Daddies.
So many Sky Daddies.
Oh. No. I think that's it for this
I'm not. It's just, no. I just had. Nope. Brain.
I know.
Don't go there.
So, the point was that spiritual psychosis is a thing. Spirituality is not a band-aid to fix things. It can cause some issues, but it's not the only thing that can cause an issue.
Exactly.
You could have trauma. You could just have bad brain chemistry.
No, if you're having psychosis, you have trauma.
Yes.
You have trauma you need to work through.
Or bad brain chemistry that's never been diagnosed.
Bad brain chemistry, yes. But, I mean, it's really hard to have those negative thought spirals without trauma there too. Like, I promise you, like, you can absolutely have negative thought spirals and delusions and stuff, but it's going to be a lot harder if you've worked through your trauma.
Yeah. The human experience is about experiencing and working through the things that we're feeling.
Also, take your medicine.
Taking your medicine, meeting your physical needs, and not demonizing yourself. At least your body.
Right.
It's healthy to need to eat, to go to the bathroom, to take care of yourself. There's nothing wrong with that.
For a long time, part of my delusion was where was I going with that?
I don't know. You picked up your phone because it rang.
I know, ADHD, what the fuck?
I said we demonize the things that we need to survive, pretty much. And that you need to continue to do that. Like, drink your water, eat your food, take your meds.
Take your meds.
Be physical in your body.
Yes, okay. What I had to say had to do with taking your meds. So part of my delusion was if I take my meds, it's going to suppress my spiritual abilities. And, I mean, my spiritual abilities were suppressed while I was taking certain meds, but it wasn't because of meds in general.
No.
It was because those were the wrong meds for me.
Yeah.
Personally. And when I got on the right medication, which takes a long time, it takes years, y'all. They're not gonna just hand you the first prescription. They're not gonna just hand you the first prescription and it's gonna magically work for you right away. Like, first of all, you have to try that for 3 months. You have to really give it an honest go. And then if that's not working, they might need to either up your dosage or switch medications, depending on what it is that you're dealing with, you know? And everyone's body and brain chemistry is different. So every medication works differently on every person. And when you get on the right medication, I promise you, it will help you feel normal, and it will help you balance everything a lot easier and keep you grounded.
Meds are great. Take them if you need them. You know, take them how prescribed.
Right.
A lot of things in spirituality, especially the love and light and the new age movement,
I feel like
are
they're
against meds.
Yeah, there's a lot of
and
shame.
It's all herbs, and I'm not saying that you can't do that, but if you gotta have antibiotics, you gotta take certain insulin. You can't go no med.
Right. Yeah, you would never be like, oh, I'm gonna take herbal remedies for, I mean, people do, but it's not smart for like a serious medical condition. So why for your mental health? I mean, they're great things to add
yes.
to your treatment.
Because say you get strep, you can take antibiotics and take garlic, whole cloves if you want. That's on you.
Yeah, I don't always recommend antibiotics. I mean, if you have a really bad immune system and your immune system's really bad at fighting off colds on its own, then use antibiotics. But if you're pretty healthy, I would avoid taking antibiotics just in general.
But if you need to take it because you can get sepsis.
You can get sepsis.
Let's not do that.
You can get sepsis, but there's like major signs before that happens.
Yeah. Just, we're not doctors. Talk to your doctors and acknowledge that you can't.
And acknowledge just the fact that your doctor knows more than you. Even if you think you know a lot, your doctor, unless you've been to medical school, your doctor knows more than you.
Yeah.
And that's coming from me, a hypochondriac.
Yeah.
Okay?
No.
I have
That's
OCD.
A lot coming from her, man.
I have medical OCD specifically. And I promise you, your doctor knows more than you.
But sometimes, if your doctor isn't addressing your concerns, it's good to find a new doctor or have discourse with them, because then it could troubleshoot a problem that the doctor is wrongly diagnosing you for. Open communication is always positive, but take your meds.
Right. If they're not acknowledging what you're going through and they're not trying to find a solution for you.
Which happens a lot with females.
And they're not taking you seriously. Like, they can say, oh, I don't think it's that. You know what I mean? And you should believe them initially until whatever treatment they are giving you isn't working. Yeah. And then you need to go back and be like, this treatment's not working. Can we look into this again? And as long as your doctor's not writing you off when you do that, then they're good. But I mean, if your doctor's like, oh, like for instance, I've been to a doctor and everything was, you're overweight, you need to lose weight.
Fire them.
Like every solution to every problem was, well, have you tried losing weight? Try losing weight first. I'm just like, oh, that's what it is.
I think the only bad experience I've had is, 1, being told that I'm not in labor over the phone. 2, having a male doctor say, oh, that cramping is just as bad, just period, you're fine. Like, that's pretty much been my bad experiences. And then also when, I was in the ER that one time, they put off actually doing anything for me for 2 hours until I felt like I was fucking dying. So, you have to know that when you're going to talk to anybody, especially about your health, that you need to have your voice heard. And if you have a feeling that your needs are not being addressed, change it.
Right. And just be careful going to emergency rooms in general.
100%.
Because a lot of times they don't take you seriously, especially if you're in a lot of pain and you're acting a little kooky. Just in general, there's been so many times where they've just been like, oh, this person is just crazy, we need to send them, we need to just give them a shot of something heavy and put them to sleep, you know what I mean, and then we need to send them to a psych ward or something, and then they're legitimately dying. You know what I mean? So, like, keeping your calm is important, but also, like, striking a balance between keeping your calm in the emergency room and making sure that you effectively state your level of need, you know, is very important.
But ultimately, the emergency room is not meant for, like, going to get mental health meds. That is primary care doctor stuff. You know.
No, and it's not just because you have a cold either.
No,
an emergency is I am having
unbearable pain,
I'm
bleeding. I have a very, 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 very high fever.
Yeah, I have a high fever and I can't get into my doctors.
Yeah, which unfortunately sometimes that's the case. But there aren't just emergency rooms. There's the little, like,
urgent care.
Urgent care. Go to those if you have a high fever.
Right. And there's usually alternative emergency rooms and urgent cares all around. I mean, at least where we live. And I get, if you live in a rural area, you might have a long way to go before you get to a hospital. So you do what you gotta do.
Man, I've heard horror stories about some farmers coming in with a bag because their appendage is in it, and they had to drive all the way to the ER.
Appendage. Oh no.
Many different appendages.
Appendages. Not their appendages.
Look, there's lots. Okay. I'm just saying. Anyways, so yeah, go to the doctor. If you can, try to go to a non-emergent area. If you're looking for meds, do that. Talk it out. Journal. Seek therapy. Be vulnerable with people in your life. Acknowledge that spirituality is not a band-aid.
Yeah, no.
Because if you're not stable and you're starting stuff, it's not gonna help you. I've literally seen people do spell work and they were not already mentally on a good standpoint. And I was like, maybe you shouldn't do that. Like, maybe you should, fix your meds. You don't take your meds like you should. And then she ended up in the psych ward directly after, like a few weeks after.
Yeah.
Because she did a cord cutting.
No. That's not good.
And then she's like, it's not connected. And I'm like, yes. Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Yes. Wow. Well.
The things I have seen. And also, there's no, like, clear-cut way for me to explain to anybody other than one-on-one how to know a deity is working out, like, reaching out for you specifically, if I don't know your clairs.
We've just come full circle.
yeah, we're coming full circle. If I don't know your clairs.
Right. And you have to know your clairs.
Which you can do a Claire reading. Did you know that? You can just say, yes, no, am I, XYZ Claire.
But also, like, everybody has technically all the clairs, but it's about what you're strong in.
Yeah.
And you have discernment in. Because it really doesn't mean much if you don't have strength and discernment in it. I almost just turned off my mic again.
You've done it a few times.
I didn't
doing a lot of hand talking.
Hands. You can't even see my gesturing.
Hands.
But I'm gesturing.
Why are we doing the same thing right now? I don't know what's happening.
Spirit fingers.
Anyways, so yeah, everybody can have all the clairs, but it's a matter of acknowledging what they are, knowing how you use them. And everybody is different, okay? Not everybody knows how to use the clairs.
Yeah, you knowing how to use them. That's the difference between just having them and knowing how to use them. Because I have clairs, but I don't have clairs like CinnamonGrove has clairs, right? Like, and I'm sorry, but there's a fine line between claircognizant and clairsentient, and that line is, are you sure of yourself? You know what I mean? Like, it's a level of confidence more than anything. Like, I have a feeling something is a certain way, or I have a knowing that something's a certain way.
Not another spiritual guru uses dowsing rods. She's been practicing for herself. She does it for herself. She does not offer readings with them. She says it's kind of like having the answers to the universe.
And no, and honestly, like, I'm not fully convinced all the time by them.
No, but sometimes she'll be on the phone with me while she's doing it.
Right.
And she'll do it and I'll say yes or no.
I'll like freak out every time the rods move. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're actually answering my questions. But at the same time, it's like, I can't just like sit there and be like, this is absolute confirmation.
No, but sometimes you'll do it and I'll be on the phone with you and I'll say yes or no. And almost, well, not all the time, but almost all the time, I'm correct. I say no or yes, and they do it at the same time. Sometimes I'm like half in the conversation with you while you're doing it because I feel like it's a you thing, and I'm just kind of like along for the ride.
I feel like a lot of times we ask them questions that we subconsciously know the answers to, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of times you're asking for confirmation, and then they literally say what you suspected anyway. And sometimes they tell you things that you don't necessarily suspect.
Because they're tools for you to use.
Yeah. But it's all, like, you have to be very specific yes or no questions.
Oh, yeah, with those, exactly.
And you have to ask several yes or no questions just to answer one open-ended question that you have.
Because you have to reduce it down.
Yeah.
And then from there, add on. And it can be interesting.
Yeah, just trying to come up with the right things to ask, because honestly, I'll be sitting there sometimes and the rods don't cross. They don't cross for any question that I'm asking, and I'm like, why? You know?
Yeah.
But like, and then I'm like, what am I doing? And like, am I holding the rods wrong? Like, what is going on? Like, why is sometimes it's just like anything else. Sometimes you just don't get the answer to things.
Because you're not always supposed to know things.
Or you asked the wrong way.
Or you asked the wrong way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't do dowsing rods. I do bones. And bone divination is not close practice. Not in the way that I do it. I do yes or no's. I have done them a few times for some people for paid readings. But it was people that I knew. And I do it for personal.
It was more like an add-on, though, wasn't it?
It was an add-on. Plus, it was somebody that I knew and I've known for, like, years. So I was like, hey, babe, do you want a yes or no? Like, yeah. Yes
or no divination is interesting.
Yeah, it can be. Especially, I use coyote bones, which is another hot take. Because coyotes are tricksters. So you have to calibrate the bones. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to check in with them and do yes, no, maybes. And ask questions like, is my name Betty? And I know my name is not Betty. Now you know my name is not Betty. So I have to ask that so many times in a row, like 5 or 6 times, and see if it's yes or no. And then if my name is my correct name. And how many times it says yes or no. And then the same thing to see if it says maybe.
Yeah, and the same thing for my dowsing rods. Every time before I start, I ask them to please cross for yes and open wide for no. And I think that that's so important because you have to make sure that it's doing the right thing.
So you have to clear cut things with spirituality, and in that way, it should be the same across everybody's practice with those specific divination. But some things aren't the same across everybody's practice. And this is where when I'm like saying, you can't just message somebody spiritually and be like, tell me how Aphrodite is reaching out to me. When it might be different for you than it is for me or for not another spiritual guru. Like, it could be different for everybody. Workings work differently for everybody. Like, you know, keep that in mind when you're getting into it as a whole.
Right.
I kind of said earlier, I don't know if I was going to cut that or not, or if I said it while you were in here, 2 people living in the same house, experiencing the same life, experience it differently.
Yeah, they do. Like, you can't, exactly, no 2 people are the same. Even 2 siblings who grew up together, they aren't the same person, obviously. You know what I mean? Everyone has their own individual personality, even siblings, even identical twins who grew up side by side still have their own experiences.
I just can't. The other day we were out in public together and somebody said we look like sisters.
I know. I was a little bit like...
And then she said, are you twins? Do you remember? Did you hear her say that?
I was like, we don't even look that much alike. I'm like, excuse me, are you just saying that because we're white? Are you saying all white people look the same?
Well, granted, we have similar hair color.
No. Just kidding about that. Sorry.
We have similar hair color and we are the same skin tone.
I mean...
It could be possible, but it's not. But we are, like we've said before, we're two separate
entities. She said, not even cousins?
Not even cousins, yeah. She was like, look, you gotta be related. She's like, you guys give off the same vibe.
You know, it's the funniest thing because I've been out with my cousin Tara, and we're not blood related. And, yeah, I just name dropped. Whoops. Anyways, I was out with my cousin, and we've been told that we look like, we're related, and we're definitely not blood related at all. But we grew up together, and people just always think that they're like, oh yeah, or we'll say that we're cousins, and they'll be like, oh, I can definitely tell, and it'd be like, we're not blood related cousins. You know, but cute. Very cutesy. Very mindful. Very demure.
Oh, that person is able to get their transition paid from all of their views.
I think that's wonderful.
That's great for them.
Yes.
Yes, I was going to do that, but I don't know how to do that video.
She's getting her transition because she's very mindful. She doesn't go to work with a green cut crease. Okay?
See, look, okay, I love that. I think it's cute. I think it's cool. I was going to try to do a video with it, but I can't because I don't feel like I'm very cutesy and mindful anymore. I'm very feral. I'm very honest. I'm very chaos.
All the feral women online using the sound, though, is hilarious.
It's hilarious, but, like, also, I don't know how I would, like, really...
No, I feel like all the feral women are using the sound ironically. And then all the conservative women are like, yes, see, like, if all trans people were like this person, we would actually like them. You know what I mean? And I'm like, wow. Damn. Tell us how you really feel.
Maybe I should just do it and be like, I'm very cutesy. Don't you see how I'm mindfully doing a cord cutting because our relationship ends?
I just genuinely think that you should be allowed to wear a green cut crease to work, okay? Like, I don't think there's anything unmindful about that. Hey, I would think that was the most approachable person in the room.
Is this going to be the news one? We're almost at 2 hours. We're just going to go. We can talk about how the Big D is telling everybody that they signed waivers saying that they cannot sue the Big D if you get hurt or injured at their theme park.
Yeah, if you ever subscribe to a free trial, even of Disney Plus, like even if you did a free trial of Disney Plus, you can never sue them for anything ever.
Because there was a husband and wife, and the husband died. The wife died. Sorry, the wife died at a theme park because they said, "Yeah, you can eat this. It's not full of those allergens you just told me about. You're totally fine." They're also, last I checked, they were saying that restaurant wasn't owned by the theme park. It was a third-party restaurant.
Okay, but it was on the theme park property.
Yeah, I know. So, there's a little news for you, because I haven't really been keeping up with anything else. I keep seeing that, and then we said TikTok trends, and you got any news?
No, just my daughter's teacher asking for prize donations for her daily incentives for homework,
I feel like I need to check to make sure I'm not getting any messages.
Because I feel like we have to donate everything to the schools nowadays, even though we pay property taxes.
No, yeah. Same. No, I'm just getting absent notifications.
Yep.
Like 7. Because my middle schooler is not going to school today. He's not feeling well, and he is in middle school, so every single period has been marked absent.
I'm like, no, really? You think they would have passed the message along to everyone by now? Oh, by the way, this student's not here.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I mean, maybe if you're feeling like canceling some subscription services, do that. But you've already signed it, so.
Yeah.
Clearly, just don't go to the theme parks, because if you get hurt.
Yeah. No, there's other theme parks.
There's Legoland. Did you know that?
Yeah, just go to literally any other theme park.
Dollywood. Come down to Tennessee.
Go to Dollywood. I've never been to Dollywood.
Neither have I, and everybody talks about it.
I know. I need to go.
We need to be blessed by Dolly Parton. She is
blessed by Dolly Parton.
She is so iconic. She is.
It always cracks me up.
The Southern States, bro.
Because people will talk shit about certain new artists. Not even new artists, but newer, obviously newer than Dolly Parton. She's been around for a long time. But then, you'll see, the really renowned artists working with those people that everyone talks shit about. And they're just I don't like this artist, or I don't like this, or for instance, I heard someone say they didn't like Post Malone's country music the other day, and I was like, first of all, do you like Blake Shelton? Is Blake Shelton real country to you because he did a song with Blake Shelton? You know what I mean? Oh, you like this person and that person and that person and that person that worked with them who's a really renowned artist, but you don't like their music. I was it sounds like something personal. It doesn't sound like... I feel like people will hop on a hate train just because it's trendy, especially when it comes to artists. I'm just let people make the music that they want to make and let other people like it. Nobody asked if you liked Post Malone's country music, right? Don't you have something positive to say about something? Talk about something you do like, Yeah.
So, I think that's it. We kind of got on a tangent about music, which we talk about a lot because we like music.
Yeah, we do like music. We'd be talking about music. But music and spirituality go hand in hand. Yeah. Yeah.
I like to use it in trance work when I'm light whipping to charge spells.
And for divination purposes.
Shufflemancy.
Yes. You can just put on your liked songs and hit shuffle and ask the universe a question, and hopefully they give you a song that can give you some answers.
Also going to drop right now because we have a playlist for all of the upper arcana, major arcana, tarot on a link in our bio on YouTube and Spotify.
Yes.
If you want to use that for some shufflemancy.
Yes, we have that. We have other playlists as well that are great playlists. We try to do a playlist every month. you know, something to do with
Get the vibe.
what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Get the vibe for, you know, this month will be Virgo, spiritual figures and entities, and Virgo just in general.
I can't right now.
Virgo's the Virgoing.
Yeah.
The Virgoing.
So yeah, go check out our playlists, and if you want to use that for shufflemancy, you can. Because there are can't even work now. Words. There are artists that make like whole albums that are literally like tarot inspired.
Mm-hmm.
Or the name is literally the word of a tarot card. That's what we did for our Major Arcana playlist. The name is a fool. The Hanged Man. You know.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, we tried to find something with the name of the card.
Yes. I have one with on my personal Spotify that is the Fool Tarot cards, but they're really weird. It jumps from rock to like not rock, and because there's like eight of wands, right? And then there's like
just imagine like these songs are named after tarot cards.
Yeah, they can be
they're pretty random.
Look, some is techno and some is synth pop, which apparently is something that I like, and I didn't realize that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
It's not called EDM, it's called synth pop. And if you think of specific songs by Chapel Rowan or Taylor Swift, apparently it's synth pop. I'll have to show you later.
I was thinking more like Ellie Goulding.
Yeah, she's considered synth pop too.
Yeah.
But some remixes with Taylor
like,
and stuff like that have been considered synth pop. Quote, quote.
There's other with like dance music that's like very light show. I don't know how to. I can't think off the top of my head.
So yeah, you can use shufflemancy, you know, for divination purposes, and technology can be used in your modern craft. Just like we said earlier, anything in too many doses is not healthy.
No.
That includes technology.
Yes. Yeah, we don't want to overdo any of the things. You need to take time for self-care, and you need to make sure that you are taking care of your other needs around you as well.
Yeah. And you're going to find if you just start cutting out so much time on your phone that it's going to be hard in the beginning because you were addicted to it, because dopamine hits.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Those dopamine hits are addictive as crap. You gotta be careful not to get locked into that cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you do. So, be healthy out there.
Drink water.
Touch grass.
Stay grounded.
Yeah.
Take your medicine.
Yeah. Eat all 3 meals. Or like 6 or 7 snacks.
Yeah, just take care of your body and mind and soul. And we hope you have a great Virgo season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The shifts are going to be shifting. We will talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.